Cold air is beginning to move out of Minnesota into western parts of Wisconsin when it arrives in southern Wisconsin, and how cold we get in the full forecast.
Plus, with these temperatures dropping, people will be turning up the heat. We'll hear from the Madison Fire Department about the fire risk and what to watch out for. And later, a manhunt continues in Madison after police say a man stole a car and drove it into Brittingham Bay. We'll have the latest on that investigation, and we welcome you to News 3 Now at 6. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Eric Franke, and we begin with these dangerously cold temperatures that are moving into southern Wisconsin tonight with wind chills falling well below zero. We have team coverage on how long these alert day conditions will stick around and what you can do, of course, to stay warm. We begin with our first warn forecast and meteorologist Blaze Keller at the weather desk. Blaze?
That extreme cold warning continues through 1 p.m. tomorrow. Many schools have closed, including the University of Wisconsin-Madison. You can find it at the bottom of your screen or by heading over to our website if you don't see your kid's school as they continue to crawl across. That extreme cold warning calling for wind chill values to be anywhere between 40 to 45 degrees below zero as we are waking up on Friday. Let's take it back to about 8 o'clock. That is when we're likely going to be at our coldest, with many anywhere between 40 to 45 degrees below zero. Right now, though, the wind chill values are starting to get to about 20 degrees below zero. Viroqua, Camp Douglas, La Crosse, everybody else seems to be between 5 and about 15 degrees below zero. But the cold air, it is making its way out to Minnesota, and it will be here as we head overnight into the morning hours on Friday. We've got clear to mostly clear conditions. We've got fresh snow on the ground, and we've got air from northern parts of Russia mixing in with these gusts at about 30 to 40 miles per hour, all making for those dangerously cold wind chills. We'll take a look at if there's any relief in sight from this cold coming up in the full forecast.
All right, Blaze, thank you. And school districts in southern Wisconsin taking no chances with these dangerous conditions. Right now, many of the area's largest school districts have canceled already classes and also after-school activities for tomorrow. These are just a few of the districts that have canceled. We have more on our website, of course, and across the bottom of your screen. Meanwhile, UW-Madison in the last half hour or so has also decided to cancel all classes, lectures, and labs tomorrow. However, all other campus operations will continue as normal. Madison College also canceling classes for tomorrow. You can find a full list of all those cancellations on our website, channel3000.com. Not just schools either. Multiple area businesses and services won't be operating tomorrow. That includes meal services that help seniors, leaving those in need without their expected meal. Now, Meals on Wheels, run by SSM Health, and while they try not to close, they say they had to because the cold weather could put the elderly and their volunteers as well at risk. Thankfully, organizers did prepare for the forecast, and clients will receive what they call a blizzard meal. They were able to send those meals out ahead of time, and they're made of non-perishable food items instead of the fresh cooked food that clients get Monday through Friday. Brian Kelly of SSM Health says preparing ahead of time for cold days like tomorrow is essential, especially with those who are vulnerable.
Some of our volunteers, we range from young to older population too, so we have to be careful for our own volunteers. And, when it gets unsafe, it's just simply you just don't want to go outside. You need to stay inside and be safe.
And as he mentioned, he also had to keep a close eye on their volunteers to keep them safe. Meals on Wheels does plan to be back open on Monday. As we prepare for these dangerously cold temperatures, Madison officials say you should start preparing your home as well. Double check pipes and hoses. Make sure all of those outdoor hoses should be connected. You probably already should have done that, but make sure that vulnerable pipes are insulated. Prioritize checking pipes in colder areas, basements, garages, attics, for example. City also says keep all furnace vents and nearby fire hydrants clear from snow. If a pipe bursts in your home and you can't shut off the water, you should immediately contact the Madison Water Utility Emergency Hotline. That number right there on the left side of your screen, 608-266-4661. Officials also want to remind people about fire risk tomorrow. Madison Fire Department reminding everyone how to stay warm safely. Our Tanasia Shaw talked to firefighters today and joins us with more. Tanasia?
Hi, Eric. Let me tell you, right now, it is very cold. It's like these temperatures are very bitter. I can barely even feel my face. And when it's this cold outside, a lot of people are going to look for ways to get more heat. You might think, you know what, I'm at home, let me get the space heater out. If you do that, you should be very careful and you should actually be cautious because there are some risks that come with that. Older space heaters have less safety features. MFD suggests, that people use newer ones. The more updated ones can detect when something is inside of the vent to prevent fires, and if it does flip or tip over, it will eventually get cooler. Firefighters also respond to homes that try to get heat from things like candles or a stove. Both should not be used at all to retain heat. MFD says during these extreme weather days, everyone should look out for one another.
Obviously, first responders can't be everywhere, and we certainly don't know what's going on until somebody calls us. And we don't want it to get to that point where they have to call us because something bad has already happened. We'd rather that the community goes out there and make sure that whatever that is doesn't happen. They don't need us, and hopefully we can have a quiet day.
And like he said, this is a perfect time to check in with one another. Even if you just do it tonight before it gets even colder than it is right now, give someone a call, knock on their door to make sure they're safe and warm during these extremely cold days. Eric, for now, I'm going to send it back to you. Reporting in Madison, Tanasia Shaw, News 3 Now.
All right, get inside, warm up. Tanasia, thank you. And as people try to keep their homes warm this weekend, always important to know about the risk of carbon monoxide poisoning as well. The poisonous gas, colorless, odorless. It can cause sudden sickness, even death, if large amounts are inhaled. Carbon monoxide can be produced by common appliances found around most homes, fireplaces, furnaces, portable generators. Some common symptoms of poisoning are headache, dizziness, upset stomach, and vomiting.
If you have multiple family members, everyone in the home has all the same symptoms. It may be that carbon monoxide is the common denominator as to why everyone doesn't feel good.
And you can reduce risk of exposure by using a carbon monoxide detector, and that'll alert when there's a danger. The CDC also says to never use a generator inside your home or garage. Even if the doors and windows are open, only use them outdoors more than 20 feet away from any windows, doors, and vents. And never heat your home with a gas oven. And don't run your vehicle, of course, inside a garage that's attached to the home, even with the garage door open. For a detached garage, open the door to let in fresh air whenever running a vehicle. For everything you need to know about the upcoming alert days, you can visit channel3000.com. And don't forget to download our First Warn weather app. With it, you can stay up to date. The latest forecasts, temperatures, radar, and road conditions. It is free to download in your app store. Simply search WISC weather. Next at 6 in other news, we continue to follow a story from this morning of a man who allegedly submerged a stolen vehicle in Monona Bay. The manhunt continues at this hour. Our Nash Dara shares the latest details. Nash?
Yeah, Eric, a crazy story from this morning is still unraveling as officers continue their search for 55-year-old Derek Newton, who police say carjacked an SUV and submerged the vehicle around 125 yards offshore into the Monona Bay near Brittingham Park. Around 6:10 a.m. near Unity Point Health, Meritor. Following the incident, the hospital was then put on lockdown due to the suspect being believed to have a knife, a gun, and still be a threat to the general public.
A lot of the resources in the Brittingham area, I think, have dissipated at this point. So, no, I don't believe. We still have officers in the 200 block of South Park and the general vicinity that will be assigned to this for quite a while. But there are no active dog tracks right now. There's no active sightings and such.
Dozens of police units and teams responded to the scene on the ice, including fire crews with divers who went into the frozen lake where they then confirmed no one was still in the vehicle. Eric, we will continue to monitor this story and investigation as more details emerge, but as of now, the search for Derek Newton continues.
All right, Nash, thank you. Still ahead at 6, what the Wisconsin Realtors Association is saying about the state's housing market. Plus, abortion advocates and patients share their stories as the fight over reproductive freedom continues. Stay with us.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6.
At the Capitol, patients, reproductive rights advocates, and a senator gathered for what would have been the 53rd anniversary of Roe v. Wade, the landmark ruling overturned in 2022, ending the constitutional right to an abortion. In the aftermath, Wisconsin's 19th century law went into effect for 15 months. The state Supreme Court ultimately decided the 1849 law could not prevent Wisconsinites from getting abortions. But since reproductive rights still face hurdles, today those at the Capitol shared their stories and talked about the latest threats to abortion care for women.
When we say reproductive justice and reproductive freedom, that means that what we want is for every person with a uterus to be able to choose what they want to do with their body and what they want to do with how they choose to move forward with their medical decisions.
Well, the state Supreme Court has not ruled on whether the Wisconsin Constitution guarantees the right to an abortion, setting up a potential debate in the future. Wisconsin's housing market saw moderate growth last year. That's according to a report from the Wisconsin Realtors Association. For the entire year, existing home sales were 2% higher than in 2024. The median price rose 4.8% to $325,000. Now, Wisconsin remained a strong seller's market as new listings were down 5.9% and months of supply fell to 3.3%.
I do believe that the supply of housing will continue to improve. We will get closer. I would suggest we will be closer to a balanced market 12 months from now compared to where we are now. But I still think we will be in a seller's market. That is, the months of supply will still be below 6 months.
And according to the report, to reach that balanced market, total listings would need to increase 107%. Still ahead, where you can find a place to warm up during this streak of frigid weather. Plus, could the cold cause some of the trees out there to explode? We'll hear from a plant expert on this strange phenomenon and just how cold will the wind chills get tonight and tomorrow. Blaze returns. His complete forecast after the break.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6.
We're taking a live look from our Dodgeville sky cam, working nicely as we brace for could be wind chills down there to 40 below. Meteorologist Blaze Keller's back with a complete forecast. And Blaze, what are we looking at in terms of a timetable?
We're looking at the coldest air to arrive between, I would say, 5 and 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, but it's starting to move into northwestern parts of Wisconsin at this hour. We're expecting those temperatures underneath clear to mostly clear conditions to dip to about 15 to 20 degrees below zero. You add on top of that the clear to mostly clear conditions, breezy northwesterly winds, and that fresh snow on the ground. That is the reason why our wind chill values could be as cold as 45 degrees below zero, not only for southern Wisconsin, but essentially the entire state. We are pretty much all sitting underneath that extreme cold warning until 1 p.m. on Friday. The cold weather advisory then remains in effect through the end of the weekend, because even though temperatures will warm out of the single digits below zero tomorrow, it is still going to be cold as we head throughout the rest of this weekend. Not only for us, but for a lot of the United States. We've got winter weather related alerts stretching from the U.S.-Canadian border all the way down to nearly the U.S.-Mexico border. Winter storm warnings in the pink, ice storm warnings here across lower portions of the Mississippi River Valley, winter storm watch, extreme cold warning, cold weather advisory there in the light blue. You can just see how far south this Arctic air is expected to go as we go overnight into the start of Friday, allowing parts of the deep south to get not only snow, but also several inches maybe of that ice. So we're anticipating those wind chills to start to feel about 20 or so degrees below zero here for a lot of us, probably by about 10 o'clock tonight. And then as we step forward to the morning hours on Friday, we're looking at 9 a.m. But again, I would say from about 5 to 8, that is when our wind chill values are likely going to be their coldest. 35 to 45 degrees below zero for a lot of us here across central and southern Wisconsin. We don't get this type of cold that often. So frostbite and hypothermia can set in within about 10 minutes if you're outside. So limit your time and especially your pet's time outdoors. If you do have to go outside, make it quick. Cover up as much skin as possible to avoid that frostbite or hypothermia, even as we head into the mid-afternoon hours. Keep in mind our temperatures will be about 5 to 10 degrees below zero. It is still going to feel as though we're 25 to 35 degrees below zero. We will start to ease on these temperatures and actually warm up above zero as we go into Saturday and Sunday. But not after hanging out, as I mentioned, 5 to 10 degrees below zero. Our average temperature right around 27. We're calling for about a 30 to 35 degree cooler than average day to end the work week. And again, at the bottom of your screen and on our website, you can find all of the school closings ahead of that cold tomorrow. If we do experience those 40 to 45 degree wind chill values, how does that stand in terms of our coldest wind chills ever recorded? We wouldn't make the top 10. Maybe that makes it slightly less cold for folks at home. We've experienced colder wind chill values, but you tack on a negative sign in front of those, it's just downright cold regardless. The most recent one was back with the polar vortex in 2019 when we experienced that wind chill value of about 49 degrees below zero. The coldest back on January 20th of 1985, 54 degrees below zero. And I don't think that our cooler than average temperature trend is going to break down until maybe we get towards the middle of February. I think we're still going to lean cooler than average for about that first week to week and a half of the new month. So that means we're ending January on the cold side, at least over the next 7 to 10 days. We'll finally get above zero on Saturday, our warmest day out there, 21 degrees.
I do like, not a lot of good news in there.
I tried.
You did your best. I like the positive spin on it has been colder.
It has been, yes.
Just be safe out there, everybody.
Yes,
no doubt about it. Blaze, thank you. And there are several warming centers available to those who don't have access to warm indoors. The Lutheran Church of Peace, Platteville, they'll take in people overnight, 8 p.m. to 10 a.m. The city's police department also will be serving as a warming center all day, every day, Friday through Sunday. And in Middleton, the police department lobby, that's on Donna Drive, will be open as a warming center 24 hours a day. And you can find more available warming centers in Middleton. We have plenty of information linked to the story at channel3000.com. So a viral post has many folks concerned about their trees. It was a post on social media that pointed out that trees could explode tomorrow because of the cold weather. And while that is true, it might be a bit dramatic. Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company says what they're describing is very natural and actually happens all the time. Here in the Midwest, we call it frost cracking. It's when a tree is damaged because of a sudden drop in temperatures. Briggs says it's so common that we actually see it all the time. And while it's not as rare or bizarre as a tree blowing up like a bomb, sometimes she says there is a sound associated with it.
Trees are not really exploding. It's not like your tree is going to turn into a toothpick factory. Now, I have heard, I've never heard it myself, but it can make a sound that's very loud. I've heard it called a gunshot sound. I've heard it called a large cracking sound. But it's not that the tree is coming apart. It's just developing a wound.
Well, the Department of Natural Resources also commented on exploding trees, saying the same thing Lisa did. They also said homeowners should have their trees looked at if a branch is cracked or split off. Quick programming note, the NFL playoffs, something to stay inside and watch over the weekend. They'll continue with the AFC title game right here on Channel 3. The Patriots and Broncos kick off at 2 o'clock Sunday afternoon. The winner, of course, goes to the Super Bowl, where they'll play the winner of the NFC Championship game, which is the Seahawks and the Rams. And Andrew is here with a look at sports.
Yeah, and a really cool story at the end of sports, how the Kelsey brothers, of course, Travis and Jason, helped make a Badger Stars family's Olympic dreams come true. We'll tell you what that's all about next on News 3 Now.
And now, News 3 Now Sports, brought to you by TDS Telecom.
How confident are you you'll finish the season with the Bucks?
I don't know. I take it day by day.
When it happens to your team, trades can be the hardest part of being a sports fan. For years, the rumors have swirled about Giannis forcing his way out of Milwaukee, but in these past few weeks, it's starting to feel like a real possibility. The Bucks are flat out bad this year, and the Greek Freak has no problem explaining the problems with his team.
We're not playing hard. We're not doing the right thing. We're not playing to win. Not playing together. Our chemistry's not there. Guys are being selfish. Guys are trying to look for their own shots instead of looking for the right shot for the team.
And speaking of trades, the Brewers did it again for the fourth time in the last 5 years. They traded a star pitcher for some prospects, this time bidding farewell to Freddie Peralta. We caught up with his teammates who say the two-time All-Star will be missed.
Freddie, meant a lot to us. He was a great guy in our clubhouse. Obviously, what he does on the field speaks for itself. So obviously, there's a loss there, but at the same time, very excited about the future ahead. The Brewers do a really good job at bringing in the right people.
To the ice, where Wisconsin women's hockey star Layla Edwards is gearing up to play for Team USA in the Olympics. But getting to Milan is no meager expense. So she started a GoFundMe to help pay for her parents' travel expenses to see her play on the world stage. And the Badger star says she had quite the donation come in, saying that fellow Cleveland natives Jason and Travis Kelsey donated to her GoFundMe, adding that Travis reached out to her personally, asking how else he can help. If you want to donate, head to this story on channel3000.com.
Those are some good guys helping her out. All right, Andrew, quick final check.
It is going to be cold. It does feel about 5 to 25 degrees below zero out there, depending on how far northwest you live. And our wind chill values are only going to get colder from here. As we head overnight, we're looking at the 20s to really encompass a lot of the area by about 10 o'clock, 30s starting shortly after midnight below zero. And then as we get into that 5, 6, 7 o'clock time frame on Friday, that is when it will likely feel about 40 to 45 degrees below zero. We stay below zero in terms of air temperatures on Friday as well. We get above zero, but still cold Saturday and Sunday with some slight snow chances before warming up a little bit, or at least staying above zero all throughout next week with our warmest day, a nice 21.
That's going to feel warm. Entertainment Tonight is next. Our next newscast at 10. You can always find us streaming 24/7 at channel3000.